This television show invites you to speak live with Piscataway's Mayor Brian Waller and his guests on the first Monday of each month. To speak with the Mayor, call 562-2305. Mayor Waller is ready to take your calls.
Good evening and welcome to Piscataway. This is Monday, May 2nd, and we are on the air live. If you would like to speak with me or my guests, please call us at any time during this hour-long program at 732-562-2305. My guests this evening include Council President Jim Ubben, Township Recreation Director Kevin Donovan, and also Jim Ballard, who's chair of the Township Recreation Department. And as chair of the Recreation Department Advisory Commission, should I say that. Jim Ubben was first elected to the council in 2001 and presently serves as the council president. He has served and often as the chair in most of the council committees and has been involved on the Planning Board, Bikeways Commission, and the Senior Housing Board of Trustees. Jim is a lifelong resident of Piscataway, having been born and raised here. He and his wife Laura have three little girls, Amanda, Kelly, and Paige, and welcome to the show again, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor.
Kevin Donovan serves as the director of the Township's very comprehensive recreation department. Kevin's first brush with the Township came when he was a very young man, and he still looks young. I should say as a kid around. He worked as a summer playground counselor. He then went on to college in public education as a history teacher, and when he retired, he came back to us and in time became the recreation director. He is a member of the National and New Jersey Recreation Parks and Recreation Association and is certified by National Parks and Safety Institute as a playground safety instructor. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor.
Jim Ballard, a Township resident since 1977, is chair of the Township Recreation Commission and a member of the proposed Community Center Committee. A graduate of the University of Massachusetts, Jim works currently as a project manager at AT&T and is well known for his leadership in systems development. His work was published at the Alliance of Engineering Symposium in Paris, and in 2002, Jim received Piscataway Citizen of the Year Award in recognition of his many volunteer activities. In his spare time, I have no idea when that might be, Jim has also become an award-winning photographer. And welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you.
Well, here we are. We're into the late spring. Summertime's around the corner, and I know during maybe Kevin and Jim, you can start talking about what type of programming that is out there for our township residents, the children, the adults, and all the different great things that we have to offer in our award-winning recreations program.
Well, our spring programming is already underway, as you said, and we're beginning now to plan for the summer programming. Some of the things that the residents could look forward to this summer certainly are picnic reservations, the 4th of July celebration, which will take place on the 4th of July at the high school, as you know, with the fireworks. We have a lot of summer camps and clinics, sports clinics, etc., planned for children, track, basketball, softball, etc. Our summer playground program will operate again this summer at 16 municipal parks. So we have a pretty busy slate of activities for people.
Now, when the programming runs during the day, what's it typically, Monday through Friday, or is
the summer playground program?
Summer playground, a couple hours during the day?
The summer playground program is a 6-week program. Normally it starts just after the 4th of July and runs through the first week of August. And it's at 16 municipal parks. Most of the parks operate all day being 9:30 to 3:30. Some operate only in the morning, 9:30 to 12:30, and some only in the afternoon, 12:30 to 3:30. But we have a complete listing in our office. If anyone's interested in the locations and the times, they can contact our office at 732-562-2382.
And the number for this evening, if you would like to speak with me or any of my guests, with Councilman Jim Ubben, Director of Recreation Kevin Donovan, and obviously the Chair of the Recreation Committee, Jim Ballard, the number is 732-562-2305. Jim, how many years have you been involved with the Recreation Commission?
Close to 15 now.
15.
Yeah,
So
I met Kevin a long, long time ago when I was the president of Piscataway Little League.
now you're still involved, I know, with some baseball aspect.
I'm still involved with the Junior Baseball League that Kevin runs, and what I do or work with Kevin to make sure we select the right teams and we have the right people on the teams, including the coaches and so forth. So that's how Kevin and I work together.
Speaking about coaches and teams, I know Councilman Euban could probably speak a little bit to this. One of the things that we were one of the few towns that was on a cutting edge of trying to protect our children with requiring criminal background checks, both federal and state. And Councilman, you might want to mention a few words about that.
Sure. The Kid Safe program, which our Recreation Department brought to our attention, provides a level of background checks to all of those volunteers that are going to be coaches, which we do fingerprinting through our Piscataway Police Department. Their fingerprints are brought down not only to Trenton for New Jersey, but to the FBI for a nationwide check. They have a list of infractions that, if anything gets flagged, that the company gets back to the Recreation Department and Mayor's office to indicate that the coach may have something. And the town itself is not made aware of what that possible infraction is. It's kept confidential, and the coach can, the applicant can work with the Kid Safe program to find out particularly what was flagged, and if they want to appeal it, which they can, and work through the Council and Recreation Department to see if they can get that adjusted. But again, the good thing about it is that nobody on the Rec Department or the Mayor's office is made aware of what that potential problem is.
It's extremely confidential.
Right,
also.
exactly.
Yeah, when the prints go to KidSafe, which is a record check organization down in Neptune, they take the fingerprint cards, they process them, as Jim said, with the state police and the FBI for state and federal checks. And then the only response we get here at the township level is whether a coach has passed or not passed. Not passed means they have a criminal offense, which is one of the disqualifiers on the state statute and also on our local ordinance, which outlines the fingerprint program here in Piscataway.
Now, Jim, from you being on the chair of the Recreation Advisory Board, from what I've heard and seen, that there's been, at first when this was introduced over a year and a half ago, we were concerned on the municipal end, the governmental leaders, about there being apprehension by the volunteers about this program. But I think that whole notion went out the window, and I think it's been widely accepted.
Oh, I think so. I believe all of the volunteer groups have been widely accepted, and most of them, I believe, have anywhere from 10 to 15 people on there. They don't all show up the same night, but I believe it's very, very much.
But once the prints are on file, it's very easy to run a new check on the individual when they're time process. What is it, 2 years, like Kevin?
Locally, a fingerprint check is good for 3 years. If you're still coaching in Piscataway Recreation after 3 years, we're going to run a second check. But we don't need to do the fingerprinting because the fingerprints are already on file.
Right.
And normally the money, councilors, you were on the finance committee, the money, I believe we put in the normal operating budget for that.
That's correct.
Correct. Obviously, there's a fee from the state and, of course, the FBI for running those background checks. And it's overall, it's a good. We're actually one of the few municipalities, I guess, in the state that's really, I guess, ahead of the curve in terms of doing those background checks.
We were one of the first municipalities in the state of New Jersey to actually adopt a local ordinance requiring the fingerprint and background check for our volunteer coaches. And our program has become a model in our state. It's been copied and used by a number of county agencies, even county colleges, municipalities, even the Diocese of Metuchen.
As a matter of fact, Director Donovan and myself and I actually put on a seminar actually down in front of other towns down at the League of Municipalities about
correct,
that.
yes.
I think one of the other things that Kevin didn't bring up is that I've assumed less than 1% of the people that go through that does not pass or something like that. It's a very, very small
We've done
percentage.
approximately 400 volunteers. We've processed them through the program, and we've had 6 disqualifications. So, and going back to your question to Jim about how it's been received by volunteers, the volunteers have welcomed it. They've really, they see it as a way to validate themselves in the community. All the parents, all the kids know that if you're out there coaching in Piscataway Recreation, you've passed both a state and a federal criminal background check.
Right.
So it raises their level of validation in a community, and that's why I think they've been so willing to participate.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to hold that thought. We do have a call on line one. I believe this is Wanda. Wanda, welcome to on Piscataway.
Thank you for taking my call. I have actually a two-part question. One is for Mr. Donovan, and one is for Mr. Bullard. The first question for Mr. Donovan is whether there are going to be any changes with the cheerleading program this year. First of all, I'd like to say that every time I've called him about something, he has been wonderful. He's really, been concerned about our recreation program, and we're very happy with it. But I hear now that they are anticipating some changes with the cheerleading program. If so, could he elaborate? And the second question would be about the status of the proposed YWCA.
Okay, well, Wanda, we're going to let you go, and then we're going to answer the questions. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let me address the cheerleading portion first. I don't know where information has gotten out that we're going to make changes in our cheering program. The cheering program will be basically the same as it has been last year and in years past. We're still going to allot 25 spots for the 4 squads, a total of 100 girls. The returning cheerleaders will have opportunity to register first, and then newcoming cheerleaders will fill out the remaining spots on a 25-person squad. There may be some changes in the volunteer coaches. We're getting an assessment of that now. We're trying to find out whether the coaches who coached last year intend on returning. If they do not return, then we'll solicit and recruit new coaches to fill open spots. But in answer to your question, Wanda, I don't think there's going to be any dramatic changes. You know, Wanda, from being involved in the Pop Warner cheerleading, that a lot of the changes are generated by National Pop Warner or by Central Jersey Pop Warner, and we don't have any control over that. They're the administering agencies over Pop Warner, and we have to abide by whatever rules and changes that they come up with each and every year. So, but we don't anticipate any dramatic changes here locally in Piscataway.
And what age groups do they start with the cheerleading and
Piscataway Pop Warner cheerleading starts at age 8, and it goes up to age 15, as does the football. Cheerleading's one side of the program, football's the other side, but they're all the same ages, and they're divided into 4 separate squads.
Okay, great.
Now, I believe there was another question in there. I wanted to know the status of the community center. Now, I know, Jim, you sit on the committee, and myself and Kevin Donovan here. There's a lot of, matter of fact, there's a lot of people involved in this committee. Actually, you're probably going to be seeing some, the demolition of the swimming pool will be happening probably within the month out there. We're still in design of the community center. We've been having numerous meetings with the state officials because part of this is in conjunction with the Route 18 project, with some of the drainage issues, and also some roadway networking system that they what they want to do out there. So we're trying to, and dealing with the new stormwater regulations, so things are getting backed up a little bit. One problem we did, however, are running into is that the cost of materials have gone up drastically since we started the concept plan. That's something we're going to have to overcome at some point or another, but I know, Kevin, you might want to elaborate a little bit more on it.
Well, we have in our recreation capital budget request for the coming year, fiscal year 2006, requested funds to authorize an architect to begin construction documents, which are the real nitty-gritty plans for the facility. The development of those documents will take about 4 months. We anticipate that construction will begin probably about a year from now. It's not a bad thing. I know people are anxious, and we are too, to have that facility underway. But given what you just said, Mayor, the construction costs, in particular the cost of steel and concrete, are out of sight. And it's one of the reasons why you see a lot of school districts struggling to come up with money for their school building renovation projects. The other factor, of course, is that most building contractors in the state of New Jersey right now have lots of work on their plates because of the school referendums, et cetera. We hope that a year from now, those construction costs will come down, and that contractors looking for new work will be able to offer us a better competitive bid for the construction of the facility. The one downside of going from the old swimming pool complex to the new YMCA community center format is that this year, unfortunately, we will not operate a summer municipal swimming pool.
Yeah, and more than likely next year also in 06.
Right. That site is now being cleared and it's being demolished. In fact, we have a contract out to demo the site any day now, and to make way for the surveying and the landscape work and the preparation for the final plans for the community center.
And it's not as easy. This, Wanda, if I may add, if you're still listening there, or watching, I should say, one of the problems we've been having is we're trying to work in conjunction with the engineers with the DOT, because we don't want to have to do any more extra improvements that are going to be ripped out as part of that construction. A lot of it has to do with the stormwater retention basins. So if they're building a retention basin, we want to make sure that they size one up to fill our needs. So we're trying to save some money on this project, and that obviously means a little delay. But if it means saving a $500,000 to $600,000 to $700,000, so be it. I mean, it is. You know.
And as Kevin and I have talked about before too, the cost currently of trying to do something with fixing the current pool was really not worth trying to do, and since we're going to be looking to replace it. But the pipes and some of the cracks and some of the ADA compliance, the OSHA requirements with the chlorine, the cost to try and keep that going in the interim really outweighed the benefit of keeping that going. So it wasn't more or less that we're just canceling the program, but there was a tremendous amount of cost to keep that up to par and up to requirements from the different organizations.
I do know we will, when we get further along with the design stage and things like that, you know, obviously the residents will get a chance to see what is actually going to be in there. I mean, basically you're going to have an indoor 8-lane competition-sized pool, another therapy pool, a basketball gym, an aerobics center, the youth center, and Jim, maybe we'll talk about a little of this on the show about the youth center. We'll be over there, and then a weight center, weight training center, and am I missing something else?
The fitness pool. and weight, the meeting rooms, computer lab, multi-purpose rooms. The main component is the indoor aquatic center, which, as you said, it contains an 8-lane.
Well, obviously that's the
pool.
marquee component of this, and that's the critical component.
The other point I'd like to make is if you listen to the descriptions of what's going to be in there is for Piscataway residents, meaning the senior citizens to the little guys. And I think that's the beauty of what we have coming down the pike.
And as I give a lot of credit to that, to the Piscataway Community Center Y/committee, formed of a lot of volunteers in town to come up with an idea of what should be in there, and that's how the scope of the work actually turned out the way it is.
Yeah, well, the components that are going into the facility came directly from residents. As you know, we surveyed the entire community, and we got very positive response, and we identified the things that they would like to see in a facility, and that's what's going to be there.
Exactly. And also providing, eventually providing swim lessons for the residents, youngsters, and whatever the age group may be. Just not only providing the pools, but also giving the training and involvement with the pools.
And with that, we do have a caller online too. I believe this is Karen. Welcome to High on Piscataway, Karen.
Hello. Thank you. I have a question. I heard that you're considering some kind of developing in downtown Piscataway. I'd like to know what you're considering what your plans are on Stelton Road.
Sure.
I heard different stories. I don't know what areas you're talking about.
No, I'll be more than happy to give you a brief thing. I'm going to let you go, Karen, and I'll explain what you're probably alluding to, okay?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen's talking about, we're in a process of the southern portion of Stelton Road in between Haynes Avenue and, say, the School Street area where they have the small businesses, and some of them that are in dilapidated conditions, where the town planning board and the council will start a redevelopment agency, and that's going to be talked about over the next coming months. We're sitting down with a lot of property owners to try to basically fix up that section of Stelton Road, because the last thing you want to see that is go down the tubes and spill out into the neighborhoods. In conjunction with that, the county is under design right now for redesigning between Haynes Avenue and Ethel Road as one segment of the project. The project from Ethel Road to the Edison train station will probably be under construction in about 2 years. And then the section between Haynes Avenue and New Durham Road is under design currently. The other northern section of Stelton Road, we did, and I know Councilman Euban's been involved with this, we did apply for some state streetscape grants and did receive some from both the state and the county. And actually, you're going to see some work starting within the next couple of weeks. The demolition of the old gas station right there on Stelton Road, adjacent to Westergaard Library, will be demolition. And ultimately, what's going to happen there is that we're going to have a additional parking for Westergaard Library and a small pocket park there. And then what we'd like to see happen is have street pavers put in, colonial street lighting, and some hanging flower baskets and things like that. And there's a lot of other little issues that are going to happen along the way, but it's more or less a beautification project.
Right. And Mayor, to follow up on your point, I mean, I wanted to recognize your administration, obviously down by the southern part of Stelton Road, which is one of our gateways into the community. For years, the old Star Lumber facility was left abandoned, and now obviously it's being renovated for a store. But there's quite a few other properties along there that the residents have been asking to see what we can do to kind of bring some businesses back there, add some value to the properties that are there, and working with the planning board in terms of the redevelopment that's being proposed. I think it's an excellent idea, as well as the northern part of town, and like you said, the street pavers and the expansion of the library parking, and also potentially putting in a tot lot if room permits. Is really going to be working both ends of that spectrum, and it's an excellent idea.
And that's actually in conjunction with working with Mr. Donovan and our landscape architect. Ultimately, what we would like to see on the northern section of Stelton Road is a vista where you go from Old New Brunswick down to Lakeview Avenue. At the end, if and when we're able to build a community center, that those two buildings will be demolished. The town already owns them, and there would be a vista overlooking the lake with gazebos and things, additional parking, where people can walk from the neighborhoods to that and then patronize the businesses. It'll be for good exercise purposes too.
Right. Just one last thing too, Mayor, is I don't know if folks have seen it since the northern part of Stelton Road, the replacement of Newmarket Dam. It came out fantastic, and I've gotten a lot of compliments from the residents. And like you mentioned, at one point we may have some gazebos down there and along that walking path. Kind of really open that up for the whole area for people to really enjoy and make that for good use. Okay, with that, we're going to let the staff, the number is 732-562-2305. We are going to go in. We do have April was a very busy month in Piscataway. We do have a lot of clips from events that went on over the course of the month of April. And with that, we're going to give the staff a chance to queue up and on the videotape here.
We've just toured this facility, which is part of our top-off exercise, is simulating a point of distribution for antibiotics in the case of this simulated plague attack here in New Jersey in a number of the counties in this region. It's an opportunity for me as Secretary of Homeland Security and for the governor to see the way in which, in real life, we would, if necessary, be able to bring a large number of citizens in, check them in terms of what their medical needs are and their particular concerns, get them access to the necessary medication, either to treat them or to give them protection against this type of illness, and then move them out and on their way. The key here is preparation, and I'm delighted to say that from what I see here and my experience over the last couple of days, that the governor and the state of New Jersey have done a tremendous job in setting the groundwork and the preparation for this kind of an event. So I'm delighted to be here. It's a great opportunity to see the very fine work that hundreds of volunteers have put into this exercise, which is very valuable, and I know the governor wants to say a few things.
First of all, Mr. Secretary, welcome home. And I too want to thank all the volunteers and the state police and everyone who's worked so hard on this exercise, from our Attorney General and head of the state police. And without question, Top Off is proving to be a very thorough and very realistic and very stress-inducing test. This mock terror response exercise underway since Monday and going through till Friday is testing our ability as a state to respond to multiple attacks. specifically a fictional biological attack in 2 New Jersey counties, a fictional chemical attack in Canada, and fictional events in the UK and Canada. We are putting our communications capabilities to the test, and especially our ability to communicate between the state, federal, and local agencies, and the private sector as well. This includes making sure every agency and the virtual public are aware of the latest updates on this statewide virtual emergency. It includes making certain that the public knows how to get the virtual medicines that they need and coordinating to make that medicine virtually available across our state. And it includes coordinating on law enforcement, from finding the terrorists to making sure essential people and equipment can get where they need to go. We are testing our ability to serve tens of thousands of people at virtual locations throughout New Jersey. The test includes a virtual outbreak of bubonic plague, which is a treatable disease. A sufficient dosage of a common antibiotic may be used to prevent disease. In the test, we have virtually mobilized the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, which in a test and in the real world would provide enough of this medicine to help literally every New Jersey resident. While all this is going on, the public should be aware that this is only a test. We are extremely grateful that the U.S. Department of Homeland Security chose New Jersey for us to participate in the largest Homeland Security exercise ever conducted in the United States. And I thank once again the thousands of people who are participating at every level to make this test as real and as effective as humanly possible.
I was glad to see that Homeland Security Secretary Chernoff visited Piscataway during the top-off exercise, and I did have a chance to meet with Secretary Chernoff and explain the concerns that as a mayor and local officials have with regards to funding for Homeland Security monies to be designated. And he was very accommodating and listened to the concerns of not only myself but several of the other area mayors in there for discussion with that, which was a very big exercise. And I'd like to thank the many volunteers in Piscataway. I know Arbor Rescue Squad was involved, and I believe River Road, several of the fire companies were involved also there. So, but I really appreciate that. Kevin, some of the upcoming projects that we have on the agenda for the Recreation Department, you might want to rattle off a few of them.
Well, we just are finishing up on one major project, which is the rehabilitation of the Piscataway Little League Complex. There are 5 fields there, and over the course of the past 3 years, we've been in phases improving all aspects of that facility. Just recently, Little League had their opening day.
And we're going to see a little video on that later in the show.
And they have 5 brand new state-of-the-art fields to play on. So we're very pleased and proud of that development. In fact, my understanding is that the Williamsport people are looking into holding the New Jersey State Championship here in Piscataway, because we now have one of the finest Little League complexes in the state. Mm-hmm. That's a project that's just finishing up now, and the fields are already in use. A project that's going on right now is the construction of our 2 new cricket fields over off of Bakeland Avenue. Those 2 fields will be the first 2 cricket fields here in Piscataway under the municipality's control. We're very excited about that. There's a high demand for cricket, as you know, and the Piscataway Cricket Club in particular is very excited about
and you
that
know, one
project.
of the problems we've had with that is that the weather hasn't been exactly cooperating with the construction. We had a very bad fall.
Yeah.
And in the winter, obviously, as we all know, we received a lot of snow, and it's been a wet spring, so it was finally just seeded up recently.
Yeah, the good news is the grading is complete, the pitches are in, the parking, the curbing is all done, the drainage, and just Saturday morning they hydroseeded the entire area just in time for that Saturday rain, which will help to germinate the seed and get the turf growing in there. We're hoping that we'll be able to get on those fields for play this coming fall. If not, we'll have to wait until spring of 2006. But that's a very exciting and new project. And one future project, as you and Councilman Hubin understand, is the renovation of the high school football stadium, which includes the new artificial turf football and soccer playing surface, and the rehabilitation of the running track. The township has seen a great need to improve that playing surface and turn it into a multi-purpose facility that could be used for football, soccer. Field hockey, public events, etc. It's going to be a state-of-the-art artificial turf field turf, which is the same turf as they have at Giant Stadium and at Rutgers Stadium. And of course, the rehabilitation of the track is long overdue.
And anybody who's ever run on that track notices that there's big problems out there.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a great new facility. We hope to have construction starting the middle of May, with targeting the field construction completion around June 30th. We are planning to have our 4th of July ceremony at the site, the celebration and the fireworks. And then after the 4th of July, the contractor will come back in and do the track. So by the end of July, the field and the track will be complete and open to the public for use.
Now, I don't think a lot of people realize how many township residents actually, other than the high school teams, actually use that field. Kevin, you might want to allude to some.
Well, the field, we use it all the time for our Pop Warner football. We have 4 teams, and they play about 10 games a year, so that's a lot of games. We play on that field. Of course, the high school teams play on the field. The high school soccer teams play there. The field hockey uses it occasionally. The band uses it for practice and competition as well, the high school band. And with a multi-purpose artificial turf concept, we'll be able to open it up for even greater use by the general community. The track, of course, is open 24/7 for residents who want to walk or
and there's
jog.
a walking program, adult walking program, I believe.
We have in the Recreation Department an adult walking club, which is very active. Now, during the construction, which is going to be May, June, July, we're operating a lot of our walking and jogging up on the new bike path up behind the high school.
And you know what, let's finish, we'll move into that next. As far as the track and field, I think it's going to be wonderful when the project is finished down at the high school. I believe we're going to be the only town in Middlesex County that is going to actually have field turf.
We're going to be the first one to have a field turf football field. There are others who are exploring that. There are a number who already have it in the state of New Jersey, but we'll be the first in the county and certainly the first in the greater Middlesex Conference to play high school football on.
Well, the significance of the field turf, as the councilman knows, and I want to give a lot of credit to Kevin for doing a lot of the research. We worked with a lot of the university officials, the folks up at Giant Stadium, researching all this. It's that actually the payback will be within 3 years because the amount of money that it was cost for maintenance of the football field and the lifespan of the field turf.
There's virtually no maintenance. You don't have to water it. You don't have to mow it. You don't have to fertilize it. You don't have to rehabilitate the grass. You don't have to stripe it or paint it. The lines are permanent. The markings are permanent. You just, every 2 weeks, have to run a groomer over it, which is provided when you purchase the field, which kind of just rakes and combs the turf and fluffs it up and makes it ready for use again so it doesn't get matted down. So it's basically maintenance-free.
Well, that's the great part. And you just alluded to the Green Acres Bikeway, and I know, Jim, you might want to talk about it. You had a lot to do with that.
Sure. I was on the member of the Bikeway and Pedestrian Commission, and the commission had gotten together looking for some grant monies to see about expanding the current Kermit Soroy bike path that currently ends over at behind JFK Library. And working with the mayor and community development, we were able to develop some plans extending that bikeway eventually in conjunction with Route 18 down Sydney Road. And currently we expanded it at across from the DPW on the Green Acres property, a biking path, a pedestrian and bike path that is used quite often, as you know, Mayor, as you drive through town here. A lot of the citizens as well as the corporate base walks out there. It was an excellent job done. I want to give kudos to the Bikeway Commission for their due diligence in helping with the design and tracking those funds. We did get grant monies to help pay for that. and it came out fantastic. And as Kevin mentioned, when the ball fields, when the high school field is under renovation, we'll be directing the residents to utilize more of that bikeway path, and it came out very nice. If you haven't checked it out, I advise you to stop over there off of Sydney Road. There's ample parking there for people who come over with their children, hopefully, and walk around it and see how nice it came out.
And with that, we're going to go back to some monthly announcements, and when we do that, we're going to come back to Jim to talk about the Youth Center.
Great.
The monthly announcements, Piscataway's annual street fair will be held on Saturday, May 7th at the Municipal Building on the lawn at 455 Hose Lane from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. There will be crafts, vendors, entertainment throughout the day. The fair is sponsored by the Public Relations Commission. The rain date is Saturday, May 14th. On Monday, May 9th, is the deadline to register or transfer to vote in the June 7th primary election. You can register or transfer in the Township Clerk's office in the Municipal Building at 455 Hose Lane, Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The evening hours will be maintained on deadline on Monday, May 9th from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. You must be 18 years old by June 7th, 05, and a citizen of the United States and a resident of Middlesex County 30 days prior to the election. The post office has scheduled the 13th annual food drive for Saturday, May 14th. On that date, rain or shine, your mail carrier will pick up what food you put out near the mailbox. If you wish, you may bring the food to the post office on Skiles Avenue beginning Monday, May 9th. Stories of the New Jersey Turnpike will be discussed by book's author, Professor Angus Gillespie, at the Kennedy Library on Saturday, May 14th at 6:30 p.m. Also, a Kennedy Library event include How to Start a Business from A to Z, presented by the College of New Jersey Small Business Development Center, and that's on Monday, May 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. And also in May on Tuesdays, the ESL conversation classes will be held from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. For more information, stop by the library or call 732-463-1633. Our Township Police Department has scheduled the Police Youth Week beginning Monday, July 11th, with classes from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and will conclude with graduation on Friday, July 15th. The program is open to any Township youngsters who will be entering the 7th or 8th grade in September 05. Applications are available at the police headquarters or in any Township middle school and must be completed and returned by Friday, June 10th. For more information, call 562-2349 or 562-2354. Also, the Memorial Day Parade, sponsored by the American Legion Post 261 and VFW Memorial Post 7504, is scheduled for Monday, May 30th, rain or shine. And the parade begins at 11 a.m. at West 7th Street in front of the Arbor Hose to South Washington Avenue in front of the American Legion Post, where the parade will end. And they definitely do it from rain or shine. I remember the one year I was the Grand Marshal, it poured the whole route. So, in the spring edition of the Piscataway News, the residents will find a variety of information on the Department of Public Works, including summer recycling trash center hours, trash pickup by appointment, and how to obtain coupons and ordering to use the mini dump. For more information, not included, call 732-562-2390. And as a reminder that all Township offices will be closed Monday, May 30th for Memorial Day. And last but not least, the next live Eye on Piscataway will be on the air the first Monday of the month, June 6th, on PCTV Channel 22. This program will be rebroadcast on Mondays at 8 p.m. and Fridays and Sundays at 7 p.m. And that concludes our monthly announcements. Now, I do know that we do have some videotape, I think, now that we're going to go into, and hopefully in rapid succession here, because it's a lot of videotape feed. With that, we're going to start with the parade for the opening day of Little League and let the staff cue it up. This is a very well attended. I know, Kevin, you might want to mention a few words about this.
Well, there's in excess of about 20 teams this year in the Piscataway Little League. Again, they have a great deal of volunteer support there, adults coaching. This program does not fall under the Municipal Recreation Department, as you know, but they do provide a great service for boys and girls at ages 9 through 12 who want to play youth baseball. Their season begins, as you see here, annually with the opening day parade and the festivities at the field, which you're now going to see on videotape.
And that was some speaking in front at the opening day ceremony.
As you see, we're in the process of doing a lot of nice landscaping that's going to be going on here, and we're going to have probably the best Little League complex in New Jersey when this is finished. Now, one thing we're greeting, I know everybody's a winner here on opening day, but one thing we're missing is a championship team out going to Williamsport, and that's one thing I like to see out of this group here this year. And if you can deliver that and put Piscataway on the map again, that'll be a wonderful thing. And with that, I'd like to congratulate all the participants here in this year's season, and thank you for everything. And we look forward to seeing you at the end of the season. Thank you.
Well, they did have a clip there of, here it is, they're throwing the pitch there, and Kevin, I guess we shouldn't quit our daytime jobs. We're not going to the major
My
league
arm is
anytime
shot,
soon.
I know that.
Yeah.
And this gentleman sitting to my right is a former president of Piscataway Little League. Mr.
There you go.
Bullard here.
We do have another clip. Has to do with the middle school basketball banquet that was held just recently in April. We can go to the videotape on that.
One of the things that Mayor Waller instituted when he was elected to his first term 5 years ago was the Mayor's Trophy, which is really a Mayor's plaque, which hangs in the municipal building, and it recognizes the playoff championship winners in the 6th, 7th grade division. And in 2001, it was the Raptors and the Sonics, 2002, Lakers and Tar Heels, 2003, the Blue Devils and the Tar Heels in the 8th grade. Last year, the Bobcats and Blue Devils, and this year, it's the Bobcats and the Knicks. I'd like to call up the head coach of the Bobcats, Don Alexander, and the head coach of the Knicks, Andre Williams.
Well, coaches, it's a great honor and a pleasure to present the plaques to the Bobcats and the Knicks, and this will be proudly displayed come tomorrow in the chamber in the municipal complex, so everybody knows the accomplishments not only with your coaching staff, but the players on your team. And more importantly, for all the players who participated in this year's program, that's most important. With that, and Kevin, that was a very well-attended event there. About how many students and student athletes are involved with the middle school?
This past year we had 20 teams, all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, boys and girls. We had about 210 participants in that program this past year.
Always well attended there. We have some future high school basketball players there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to go to another video feed that happened in one of the Grandview school just recently in April, and we'll go to the video feed on this now.
So what we're going to do
This was in conjunction with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the DuPont Corporation, and the CUS program, which is Cities United for Science Progress. Basically, what they're there to instill students to go in to be engineers out there. And given the fact in this day with the world business climate, it's always good to have more engineers out there to be competitive. It was actually a very fun time with the children there. What they had to do, they had to build a Puffmobile, given with straws, paper clips, and tape, and some craft paper. And then at the end, you're going to see they had a race there. That was my, the pit crew there building the thing there. So I had a very enjoyable morning there for a little while, and it was very interesting what some of the children actually came up with in designs. This is a wonderful program that the DuPont Corporation has. They go around the country nationally, where they assign a couple engineers for the corporation that just go to the schools to try to get them, instill the mind of engineering minds in the students. So that was our vehicle there. We did make it to the third round and didn't make it to the winner's circle, but that was all right. That was the point. So, yeah, not enough hot air there to blow it along. That's probably what it was. They should have had me down there getting it. So.
I'd like to thank you all for participating. You're going to have
No, it was very well attended. There was over 100 children at the Grandview School there in conjunction with the Board of Education. and the administrators at the Grandview School. And for everybody helping out. I know it's funny because when we first started, we were 10 minutes in, and then you said you use the plate. So then we figured it out. Well, we had to rearrange what an engineer does, figures out a problem, or or build on a platform a little better. So that's what we did, and we were successful. With that, thank you. I hope you all enjoy today, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. And remember, mathematics is everything, because every day you use things, mathematics is involved in it. Okay? All right, thank you all. Let's give a round of applause to the people. We do have another segment here, and this is over at the Board of Chosen Freeholders meeting, accepting a grant money, and we're going to roll the feed on that. This is where we accepted some grant money from the
Mayor, on behalf of the Middlesex County
Freeholder
Board of Chosen Freeholders, I'm pleased to present to you a check in the amount of $80,000 from our Homeland Security
task force for the Board of Chosen Freeholders. It's an $80,000 check that we accepted through part of some of the Homeland Security money. And what that's going to go for is that we want to rebuild the watch commander's console in the police department. We have about $140,000 worth of grant money so far, but the total bill is going to be about $400,000. And what that'll do for the residents, if you don't know, that'll synchronize all the communication between the police department, the fire companies, the rescue squad, and all the emergency services. And I got to tell you, I got to give a lot of credit to the Board of Chosen Freeholders, because they're one of the few counties that is actually passing the money along to the towns. And it's not being bottled up, being taken over by the county OEM. They're actually passing the money through to all the municipalities. Every municipality got some money based on population and security sites. So I'd like to thank the Board of Freeholders for doing that, and I look forward to working with them in the future on that. Putting a new communications center inside our police department and working in conjunction with our fire and EMS. So that area, that's correct. That'll probably be going up in the next month or two. Director, this will be spent by the end of the year. So we will not be sitting on this money, Chris. Thank you for the town. Thanks very much. We do have one last video feed, and that is of the ribbon cutting ceremony. I will cue it up, and then we'll get to Jim Ballard here. This has to do with the ribbon cutting ceremony at the Yardville Bank. Everybody sees on Stelton Road. To my left, I believe that's Michael Griffith, and then some of the bank officials, the bank managers, and Councilwoman Scott, and I think Mayor Gallagher of South Plainfield was there in the back, and also Pastor Rouse of Macedonia Church down on Highland Avenue was attended the event. Very tastefully done building. I know a lot of people have been complimenting on the looks of that building. And that's the type of things that we'd like to see happen along that stretch of Stelton Road to beautify that segment of Stelton Road. And we congratulate the Yardville Bank for moving from South Plainfield to Piscataway. And also, Mayor, they did some off-track improvements to the intersection with the traffic. That's correct.
So it's good. Not only are they a good corporate citizen, but also giving back to the community and giving some funds to help improve that traffic light. That was outstanding.
Absolutely. And the number is 732-562-2305. My guest this evening is Council President Jim Ubben, Recreation Director Kevin Donovan, and Chairperson of the Record Advisory Committee, Jim Ballard. Jim, the Youth Center, since you're heavily involved.
The Youth Center is a center that I believe is not very well publicized. It is in the Arbor section, and they have 130 registered kids there. And any night you go in there, they will have anywhere from 20 to 30 kids. The programs are throughout the year, and they have computer programs, there are reading programs, educational programs, there are programs for athletes and so forth. So it's a total, I would say it's a total thing, so to speak. During the summer, they have a special types of programs, and they actually go with kids all over the Northeast, I should say. In fact, I took a trip with them down to Baltimore a couple of years ago. But I must say that the leadership there is very, very good. Ms. Darlene Pearson, and by the way, that organization is under the Recreation Department, under Mr. Kevin.
It's another division of the Department of Recreation.
Right, exactly. And I believe that has been running in place now for about 10 years or so.
I don't know if it's been that long.
Has it been
been
that long?
about, maybe 7 years.
Okay,
6 or
they're
7
about,
years.
yes, right.
Yeah.
And we have an organization called Eternal Youth, in which it's a
Now that's been in place for over 10 years.
that has been in
That's
place for a
probably what
very
you're
long
thinking about.
time, yes. And what we do is have the meetings once a month, meet with Darlene and whomever, and try to discuss exactly what's going on. And what's going on of everything, the kids, the programs, and so forth. And she always keeps us a month ahead wherever she can. And so therefore, by doing that, we're able to add value to the success of the program.
That's great.
Well, I think that's want to give a credit to both you, Jim, and obviously Kevin for organizing, obviously, the staff over at the youth center. It's not an easy job, but I think you do a wonderful job over there. And then I think it'll be very nice once we get the new community center online. They'll have a new facility, bigger spacing. I think, Kevin, what are we talking about, 1,500 square feet?
We have about 3,000 square
feet
foot set aside for the youth center. Also, it's going to be more centrally located. It'll be easier access for more teenagers in Piscataway. Darlene Pearson does a tremendous job. Under her leadership, that program has flourished and been very successful. A lot of the credit belongs to Darlene.
Yes.
She's the director over there.
And that's critical when any time you're dealing with children, you need, supervision is the key.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody who's dedicated, then it makes a world of a difference.
And what's nice about it, it's zero tolerance, which means that you either abide by the rules or you're out of there.
Right.
It's just that simple. But we don't have many people leaving because they realize this is the right thing to do. And by the way, they're looking forward to the new building.
I'm sure they are. It's been a little cramped up over there for the last 6 or 7 years. With that, we do have a caller, I believe, on line one. I believe this is Dick. Welcome to I'm Piscataway.
Yeah, hi. I'm calling about the issue of sort of gratuitous advertisements on the sign poles around the community, and especially around the place where I live. I don't think you can control it completely, but at least you can clean it up along Hose Lane and Morris Avenue and in the environs. But I am not successful in appeals to your office or Mr. Wapinski. I guess he's the guy in charge of code enforcement. It simply doesn't work.
Well, I think part of the problem, Dick, is that as fast as Mr. Wapinski gets those signs down, and believe me, he does go out and take the signs down because he actually takes pictures of the trunks and when he pulls down all the signs. And he does contact, but, it's like mosquitoes. They're all over the place.
Yeah, but I mean, there's one particular sign, and if you could just keep it, I recall that the signs are everywhere, but in the neighborhood along close to the municipal building and close to Hose Lane and that avenue around there, when the signs go up, they must be pulled down. Now, as a small public service, I do it myself, but there are signs that are posted too high on the pole.
Well, see, what the problem is? I think some of these people come in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
they get up on a big ladder.
Has an ordinance on this, and they have been effective to some extent, but if you'll go there, you'll notice the signs are higher and higher and higher.
Right.
And so Mr. Wapinski has to get a guy with a ladder to pull them down because the people who are putting them up put them up with ladders. So it would be very gratifying to me if you would at least enforce the code along this particular corridor, because then I could see progress. But I see no progress, and my appeals don't get anywhere.
You know what, Dick? We're going to try to work on that for you.
Right.
Okay, you got it. I'll give you a bellwether.
Great.
The bellwether is the corner of Hose Lane, Old Hose Lane and New Hose Lane.
Right.
That sign's high, so Mr. Wapinski is going to have to get up in his ladder and pull it down.
Right.
Well, Dick, I would do it myself, but it won't be tonight because it's raining outside.
No, it won't be today, but it hasn't been for 3 weeks since I first complained about it. So I'll see, I hope, that maybe on the first Monday in June, and I don't have to call back and ask you about it again.
Okay, we're going to let you go, Dick, and then I know Councilman
Thank you
Newman's
very
coming.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Just real quickly, for Dick's point of view, the council and administration have been discussing actually putting up developing a sign ordinance. As Dick has mentioned, there's a set of signs that seem to go up overnight, and we're going to look to have an ordinance that prohibits and bans signs on the right-of-way in the township here, going after the phone numbers, going back, contacting the owners, asking them, letting them, potentially adding some fines here, because if you don't introduce fines, obviously a slap on the wrist, and these people are going to just continue to put up signs. It actually is a visual litter, and as the signs go up and they blow all over the place, it's getting a lot of complaints, and I know this administration is going to look to prohibit those signs, and also working with the Board of Utilities, with our public service electric and gas, is that to make them responsible for cleaning their own poles.
That's part of the problem. It's considered their property.
Correct. So although we go out, as the mayor says, and have our DPW go out and rip those signs down, if we put the onus on a public work, the PSE&G to keep their own poles clean, otherwise we can report them to the Board of Utilities to get their act together. So there'll be more pressure on them also to go up there and keep it clean. So by all means, Dick, it's a very good point. We're going to look to keep that clean, not only for them signs, but overall litter here in town. I mean, we ask people, please, you have curbside pickups. Please don't dump garbage along the roadways. We're trying to make Piscataway a clean community, and anything we could do would be great.
And with that, I believe we're almost time to wrap up. Kevin, you got any last thoughts about upcoming recreation programs?
You're keeping us busy, Mayor. I mean, with all the projects that we've been doing, they've all been very well received, very worthwhile. I think our recreation facilities are second to none. We continue to look to areas where we can improve. I know we're going to be going back and doing another round of basketball, tennis, hockey,
color
rink,
coding,
surfacing, repairs, and so on and so forth.
There's a long-term plan to also replace the pavilion down at Riverside Park, but there's a little engineering issue involved.
Yeah, and it's
a little bit more complicated than what it appears to be.
Right.
We do. Jim, Lane, you got 10 seconds?
No, nothing. I think we've covered everything.
Okay, Jim?
Just real quick, well, first of all, say hi to my daughters, Amanda, Kelly, and Paige. Now you can go to bed. And real quickly, the mayor and I had an opportunity today to go to Taste of Piscataway, which was held by the Rotary Club. It was an outstanding presentation. If anybody has any interest about the Rotary Club and what their functions are, you can go to their website at www.piscatawayrotary.com or contact Ann Roman at the JFK Library, and she'd be more than happy to give you some more information.
And with that, we're wrapping it up because the staff is waving their arms. We'll see you all, and don't forget the Memorial Day Parade.